Hi, this is Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about Metabo HPT, formerly known as Hitachi Power Tools. About 4 years back, Metabo HPT became Hitachi Power Tools. Now, the whole story about how that happened is actually kind of interesting, a little bit confusing in why they did that. Metabo HPT is actually known as a brand called Hikoki in every other part of the world but North America. And they did that because they had a recent sale of the Hitachi Power Tool lines to another company, and that company decided to change the name from Hitachi to Metabo HPT, which the HPT standing for Hitachi Power Tools. Now, Hikoki in the rest of the world generally has a much larger lineup of power tools, where for some reason here in the US, we get a rather small selection of power tools. Mostly found, if you want to find it in stores, it's going to be at Lowe's. They have just one, generally just small little spot for the tools. You're going to find maybe 20-ish tools you're going to find. They don't have any outdoor power tools, unfortunately. What they do have is a rather solid selection of power tools. So if you're considering Metabo HP Power Tools, we're just going to consider some of the pros and cons of the brand, as well as some of the tools that I have here, and we're going to see just how well they do as a tool brand. So let's jump right into it. So looking to my right here, I've got just a selection of tools from Metabo HPT. Now, here in the States, we have a very limited selection of tools available. So in stores, you're going to find the most limited selection of anywhere. They do have a few more available online, but some of those are hard to find or even relatively unknown. I wasn't even aware they actually make two vacuums. They make a larger shop vac style vacuum. They also make a little handheld vacuum. You really got to kind of search for it and kind of find those online. But if you look at what they have in stores, I think the in-store tools they have are an excellent selection. So they have the usual, drills, impacts, recip saws. They have the circ saws as well too. So some of the tools that I really enjoy from Metabo are if you're looking for a really well-built reciprocating saw. I use reciprocating saws very frequently with what I do for work. And so I like to have a reciprocating saw that is going to be very tough and also very powerful. Right now, if you look at some of the reviews for reciprocating saws, I really like Tools and Stuff videos. They did an excellent video comparing the Makita XGT first and second gen versus the Metabo HPT multi-volt reciprocating saw, which I have here over to my right. And basically, the Metabo does hold its own really nicely. It's pretty much, I think it's either the second or third most powerful reciprocating saw in the world, or if it was the word fastest I could use there as well. So it's an excellent choice. Also can be found relatively cheap as well. Whereas the Makita XGT stuff could run you in the $300-$400 range for those tools. You can find these on sale, on eBay, generally around that $100 mark brand new. Also, one thing that Metabo HPT is known well for is the multi-volt battery system, which is very similar to, if you think of like DeWalt FlexVolt, you ever heard of that before? It's going to allow the batteries to run on two different voltages, either 18 volt or 36 volt. So those batteries are actually backwards compatible with the 18 volt tools, as well as allowing you to use more powerful 36 volt tools. So Metabo has really got some cool innovation out there that you're going to find when it comes to those. It's pretty unique, and only other brand that does that is DeWalt, but I feel like DeWalt doesn't push it as heavy as Metabo HPT is pushing it right now. So if you look at other things they have in their line, of course they have impact drivers, they have drills. They are well known for the triple hammer impact. And if you didn't know Metabo HPT, they actually are the ones who came up with the first cordless impact driver. Also the only brand, and the first brand of course, to come up with the triple hammer impact as well. They also are the first brand to come up with the sliding miter saw. So they've got a lot of really cool firsts. If you go on their website, look at their history of innovation, they show kind of all their history, their 70-year history of the brand. They've got a lot of cool things that I had no idea they even made. They made the first, I think it's cordless stud cutter. They've got a whole list of things that they were the first to make. Had no idea. I didn't know Metabo or Hitachi at the time was the first brand to come out with the cordless impact driver, which is such a legendary tool. It's hard to find someone that doesn't own a cordless impact driver now. So very cool tool to see that they invented, and really cool to see what else Metabo's coming out with now. But let's move back over to some of the tools over here. So we've got the impact drivers from Metabo. They're also very well known for their nailers here in the States and as elsewhere around the world. So If you look at like roofing nailers, framing nailers, you look at any job site, you're gonna find a Metabo and HPT nailer somewhere. You're gonna see a lot of the older Hitachis because Metabo only changed their name about 4 years ago, but a lot of those nailers are still running strong, even 4, 5, almost, I've seen a couple of them that have even been 10 plus years old. Metabo HPT is very well known for their nailers. I know I did a review on both these nailers. I got the pin nailer and the brad nailer back there, and they are very good nailers. Kind of hard to complain about really anything about them. They're just, rugged, good tools. They're very lightweight and very well known for their reliability and durability. So I've also got multi-volt batteries here as well too. Very similar in size to a lot of other brands' 5 amp hour batteries. This is going to be the 2.5 amp hour at 36 volts or the 5 amp hour at 18 volt battery. Now they only make 2 batteries in the multi-volt series. I've got one over here, my reciprocating saw. As you can tell, it's quite a bit bigger. This is the larger 4 amp hour at 4 amp hour at 36 volt. And it's an 8 amp hour at 18 volt battery. The only downside that I've seen people mention about these batteries is if you're using a 36 volt drill or impact driver, this is the smallest one they make. They don't make a 2.5 or a 3 or a 1.5 in a 36 volt tool or 36 volt battery size, because you have to have, I believe it's 10 cells in these to make a 36 volt battery. So you have to have a relatively larger battery to run a multi-volt tool. So a little bit of a downside there. The other downside of Metabo HPT is that their tools aren't necessarily always going to be ranking a lot higher. You take brands like, Milwaukee, pretty much all their tools are going to be, in that top 3, top 5 kind of stuff. Some of Metabo HPT's weakest tools, I would say, would be something like their multi-tool. If you look at pretty much any review, Project Farms video, they recently did a video on that, and the Metabo HPT came in pretty much dead last. And that's kind of a recurring theme I see on some of their tools. Their tools just kind of come in dead last. I don't know if the tools are just so old, they haven't updated them recently, or it's just not a tool they really focus on too much. I'm not sure what's going on there exactly. Also, they do have some interesting innovation on tools that maybe kind of falls flat. If you look at their one-handed reciprocating saw, it's not really rated very highly. Well, I gotta say, it lacks a lot of power. But the cool thing about it is that it also takes jigsaw blades. I've even heard people comment that it's a better jigsaw than is a reciprocating saw. So kind of interesting there. But even though they make an excellent multi-volt reciprocating saw, their regular little one-handed recip saw isn't the best saw out there. So just something to be aware of, that it's not all going to be wins when it comes to their tools. There's going to be a few tools that they do make that are not the best. You might want to look around for other options, and keep your other options with other brands open, of course. You're not going to be able to just buy all Metabo tools and know that you're going to have the top 5 tools of everything you buy from them. Now back onto pros for Metabo, they do have what's called a lifetime warranty. Now, it's not what you think when it comes to lifetime like a hand tool, where you can pretty much warranty that tool out indefinitely. And like brands like Craftsman and Harbor Freight kind of make that promise that, hey, as long as you have this tool, we'll keep warranting it out forever. What that means actually for Metabo HPT is that their tools, as long as they continue to make that tool, and in their wording they say, as long as we continue to have parts available for that tool, or all parts available for that tool, they'll continue to warranty it. Which that can be a good or a bad thing, depending on how you look at that. So of course, if they make, say, this recip saw, which I know has been out for a few years now, if it's been out for longer than 3 or 4 years, you're getting that 3 or 4 year warranty if you bought when it first came out. So brands like Makita, DeWalt, offering a 3-year warranty, you'd be better off with Metabo on that certain tool, because if they keep making that tool for another 4 or 5 years, you've got another 4 or 5 years of warranty on that tool as well. So there's a big pro to having that. Now, if they say let's say they make this brad nailer, they come up with a new version, and they discover, oh, well, there's some issue with this brad nailer, we should stop making this and go to a new model. As kind of this model's a dud, start with a new model. You might only have a year warranty on that tool, and they say, oh, we're not going to warranty that tool, you got to buy the new model. So there can be your pro and there can be your cons in those tools. Even if you say buy like this impact driver, and you have no idea that they're about to discontinue the impact driver 2 months down the line, it may work fine for you for a few years, maybe even a year or two, but if you have an issue with it, and they've already discontinued that just a month after you bought it, well, also, you're out of luck there as well too. You no longer have a warranty on that tool. So it's kind of pro, kind of con there. If you do think about it in this way, Milwaukee has a 5-year warranty on the majority of their tools. Now, Milwaukee, they just came out with their new Gen 4 impact driver. Their previous Gen 3s were only out for about 4 years. So you can pretty much pick up any impact driver that Gen 3 impact driver, and they're still all under warranty still. They haven't made any that are over 5 years yet. So if you think about it in that way, that hey, they've made them for this long, they're all 5-year warranty, it can be a kind of a pro and a con there when you think about how warranty times work like that. So I kind of like the Metabo HPT thing a little bit better when it comes to warranty, giving that just lifetime warranty. If you know it's a good tool, if you know that they've been making that tool for quite a while, it's probably going to be a good buy for you. And I've heard really good stories about Metabo HPT's warranty. They don't seem to they don't seem to throw a fuss on a lot of things. It's like they take care of their customers really well, especially the nailers as well too. That's something that I've always heard, that a lot of guys seem to break nailers pretty easily. They're just a much more complicated tool. Having a great warranty on a nailer is always a good thing to have. So moving back to things like impact drivers from Metabo HPT, they're known for their triple hammer impacts. Now, I don't see a lot of those talked about too much. It seems like the Metabo stuff isn't well reviewed a lot. I'm not saying well reviewed isn't a good way, but just they don't seem to have a lot of reviews. I just think that's probably because in the US, the Metabo HPT is just a smaller line. Also, it's kind of moving to a point with the name change. I really wish they just kept the Hikoki name. That actually sounds pretty cool to me. Metabo HPT is kind of confusing because I'm not talking about Metabo, the German brand. I'm talking about Metabo HPT, the Japanese brand. So they have the same name, but they're different companies, but HPT is at the end of the Japanese one. So it's really confusing. I was confused myself for quite a while. I didn't understand exactly what they were doing with it. I thought Metabo HPT was Metabo for quite a while until I actually got into the brands a bit more. So if it was Hikoki, of course, if you search for, Hikoki reviews, you're not going to find any Metabo HPT reviews. It's just kind of a weird thing. It's like if you had a brand like Toyota in the US and it had a different name elsewhere in the world, it would make kind of finding information about that brand but quite more difficult. I think that's what's going on with Metabo as well too, is that you can't find all the information if you're in the US trying to find it outside, and vice versa. It kind of, halts their marketing a bit because of that name change. It's just a kind of a strange thing. I know there's a lot of confusion on that. A lot of guys do talk negatively about that name change. I don't see why Hikoki would be a bad name in the US at all. I think that'd actually be a really cool sounding name, and it'd be really simple as well too. It would eliminate a lot of confusion with Metabo as well. So just kind of a weird thing with the name there. I want to touch on that just briefly. But anyways, if we move back into some of their tools, like the impact drivers, they're pretty well known for their triple hammer impacts. Now myself, I'm not a fan of triple hammers myself too much personally, and I will say that in the fact that I've only ever tried out the 18 volt triple hammer. That's kind of their mid-range one. I like to try out maybe the 36 volt, and also they come out with a new Gen 2 as well. That's going to end in their DC, I believe, model code. I believe the current one is the DB, is the first generation. So I'd like to give that one a shot. I think it's codenamed the Bolt, I think it's called, the new triple hammer. And it's putting out almost 1,900 plus inch-pounds of torque, which is going to run you very close to like the new Milwaukee, which runs at 2,000. So if you're looking for a lot of torque, you want to be up there competitively, Metabo HPT is going to give you that as well too. So they've got a lot of cool things that come with the triple hammers. They're definitely more known for, I believe, having more, of course, it's more impacts, but the impacts aren't going to be as strong. Something to keep in mind. So when it comes to impact drivers, they've got some really cool stuff. They're very similar to Makita. Now, when I say very similar to Makita, if you've ever seen Makita, they've got a lot of really cool, interesting tools out there. Definitely a larger brand footprint in the US. But one thing I noticed was, if you look at the Makita and the Hikoki, which is, of course, the Metabo HPT elsewhere in the world, check out their Japanese Instagram pages. They are very, very similar to some of the stuff they come out with in Japan. Some of their, like their vacuums, the stick vacuums they have, look super similar. Kind of reminded me almost like a Hyundai Kia a little bit, how they're almost like sister companies in a way. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but they look very similar. Some of the tools they have over there look very similar. I'm not sure if they work together with engineering or design at all, but they remind me very similar of each other quite a bit. If you were to ask me, hey, where does Metabo HPT kind of sit when it comes to like brand levels or tier levels of tools, I would say they're right on the same level as like Rigid. They seem to kind of target the same audience. Their warranty is very similar. Ridgid has that LSA, lifetime service agreement, which a lot of people confuse that for a lifetime warranty. It's not a lifetime warranty, guys. But at Metabo HPT, they kind of sit right there in that middle tier. If you go to Lowe's, of course, you're going to find like Flex and DeWalt will be that more higher end tier, and you're going to find like Craftsman Cobalt. Well, I guess Cobalt could be in that middle tier as well too, some of their higher end XTR tools. But Craftsman will be sitting at that lower kind of Ryobi tier there. So Metabo HPT right there in the middle, kind of similar warranties to Ridgid, also very similar price points. And if we move on to price points with Metabo, they do have an excellent price point on a lot of their tools. Some of their deals are just amazing. Currently at Lowe's right now, they have a buy more, save more, and if you spend $500, you get $150 off. That's a great deal, pulling you down to, I believe, right at around $350 if you spend $500. So that's a pretty cool deal, what you can spend there. They've also got a free battery rebate right now. So they have almost every tool. I'm not gonna say every tool, but almost every tool that you can buy that's cordless, either bare tool or in a kit. You get a free, not this multi-volt battery, but you get the larger multi-volt battery for free in the mail. It takes a few weeks to get to you. I've submitted 3 now. I haven't got mine in just yet, but I'm sure they'll get in pretty soon. And that's on most tools, even the Impact and the drill right here. These are pretty cheap. I only paid like, I think it was like 80 bucks for this and like 70 bucks for this. They came with 2 batteries, a charger, a nice hard case, and of course they both qualify for that free battery rebate. So really cool deals to see there. Like I said with the recip saw, $100 for this thing was brand new. I think I've seen some of the best deals I've seen for that recip saw. I think I saw it one time for like 100, 120. It came with a multi-tool for free. Just an absolutely insane deal. Their nailers also are going to run you a little bit cheaper than like the Milwaukee ones. This pin nailer, I paid full price for this at $150. I think that's a fantastic deal. A lot of the comparative deals like DeWalt and Makita are going to run you 200 plus. Even their brad nailer, their kit I think is like, they just actually decreased the pricing on their kits, which you kind of don't really see any other brands doing that. They're staying very price competitive to a lot of other brands. Their brand kits I think are like $279, $269 right now. It's a really good deal for what you get. And they have some of the best pricing that I've seen for a lot of different brands out there right now. Short, of course, of like Ryobi and Craftsman, some of the lower end brands that are really aiming for those price points, where Metabo's kind of staying nicely in the middle there. One of the big weaknesses that I find with Metabo is that they have outdoor power tools under the name Hikoki in other countries. If you didn't know, they actually have chainsaws. They do have one string trimmer. They have a blower, which looks really cool. I wish they'd bring some of that stuff into the US. A lot of people that need power tools, they're going to be maintaining, say, their home, their driveway, their yard, and having a blower, string trimmer, even a mower right now that is cordless. They have the multi-volt battery platform. This would be fantastic to run with a lawnmower. So I'm surprised they don't have any of that in the US. That stuff always sells really well. Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee, all 3 of them now have full outdoor power tool lines. With Ryobi probably being the biggest outdoor power tool line right now. If you ever look out at Home Depot, check out the outdoor power tool section. It's always like 60-70% Ryobi, and it's just Milwaukee, DeWalt, and Makita has always got that last little section at the back now. So it'd be cool to really see outdoor power tools. For some people now, that's kind of the first tools they buy. They might buy a house. Oh, I need to maintain the yard now. I'm gonna grab a blower, a string trimmer, a mower, and oh, well, there are actually other tools I can use inside the house now. It's a great gateway to most brands. So really cool to see if they expand on those tools a little bit more. That's probably their biggest weakness right now, is just a very limited selection of tools. When you couple that with their strange name change that kind of gets a lot of confusion, that is kind of probably what's hurting them the most right now and why we don't see a lot more of Metabo HPT out on job sites. So in conclusion, when I talk about Metabo HPT, I do think they're an excellent brand, but they're held back by a few kind of bad apples in their lineup, with a few tools that aren't necessarily the strongest. They definitely come up with a new generation of those tools. And if you look at how fast they come up with those tools, it seems like in other countries, I looked at some like the Hikoki 2022, 2023. They have some of their new magazines out that show all their new tool releases. And they release like 80 new tools a year, but here in the US, you might get like 1 or 2. The recent tools we've gotten is like their rear handle saw, and we also got that new generation 2 of the triple hammer multi-volt, which that's about all we've gotten so far. So we're kind of just very limited here. There's not much you can buy here. Now, if you are a Metabo HPT fan, if you didn't know, you can actually buy from Amazon Japan, or even you can buy from Japan on eBay. You can import a lot of Hikoki stuff. Now remember though, is that even though you're buying the Japanese version of stuff, the batteries will still work here in the US. So if you buy a Hikoki tool that's 36 volt, your Metabo HPT multi-volt batteries will work with those tools. The only thing that probably won't work is going to be the chargers, because they're going to run on probably 230, not 120 like they are here. So that's basically my thoughts on Metabo HPT. They're well known by a lot of different contractors, a lot of different tradesmen. Of course, that's the old Hitachi name. A lot of people know them as that name. And overall, they're a great brand, but I really wish to see some more tools come out by them. And also I wanted to mention that Metabo HPT is announced a merger with Metabo. I don't really know what that means just yet. We could be seeing maybe some shared battery platforms, possibly the multi-volt platform might be shared with them eventually. It would be really cool to see that happening. But that's supposed to be happening in December here of 2022. So not sure what that means just yet. Could be good news for Metabo, maybe more tools coming out, maybe even Metabo Germany coming into Lowe's as well. So it could be very interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, of course, I'm excited to see what Metabo HPT does in the future. Love to see more tools by them. Love to see some tools also updated and bring them kind of more into the top 5 of a lot of their tools. And love their warranty. Pricing is excellent. So I would definitely say, yeah, check out their line of tools, but don't expect everything to be an awesome tool in their lineup. These are the tools that I've seen that have been well reviewed. Probably the tool that I like the best from Metabo is going to be probably a tight battle between their nailers and also their recip saw. So if you had to pick any tools, if I had to probably pick one tool from Metabo that I'd say is my favorite tool, I'd probably say the recip saws. I've actually got 2 of these, got a couple of multi-volt batteries. Stuff is really cheap, excellent warranty, and it just annihilates any other tool that I've tried out there. It's definitely faster than my Milwaukees, my DeWalt's, and my Makitas. Nothing really comes close to the multi-volt recip saws. So guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below, and take care.